Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Gillian and I'm so excited. Today we have an awesome video. We actually have one of my subscribers as our amazing guest. Her name is Skye, and she has had a huge transformation on the raw vegan lifestyle and the raw vegan diet. So I just can't wait for you guys to hear this story, and I'm just so excited to have her on. So please give her a big welcome. Give this video a big thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe right now if you don't already, and let's get right into it. Hey Skye, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. It's so lovely to have you on.
It's lovely to be on and to share this.
Yeah, and you're all the way in Australia and I'm in Toronto. It's nice we can connect.
Yes, opposites, but yeah, it's good.
Yeah, and you're beautiful in the green. And my viewers don't know, but I actually was going to wear a green dress, almost the same color as Skye, right before we came on. So I kept this on. It was great. So it's meant to be.
For
So make
sure.
sure you guys stick around to the end. This is going to be a good one. I can feel it. I just know it. So, Skye, I would love to start it with your story. So you've been raw vegan now for about 10 months, correct?
Yeah, 10 months. Just 10 months. Nobody even close to me can believe the transformation in 10 months.
That's why I'm so excited to share your story, because 10 months is still a while, but it's still like short term. So it's still so fresh for you. And I know my viewers, they love hearing real stories. So I'm so excited to have you on. And I would love to have on more viewers, more subscribers. I think it's just amazing and so relatable. And I just think it's just nice to talk to someone who hasn't been doing it for years. And I mean, it is so working for you. You have just the highest vibe. You look amazing.
Oh.
So, what led you to going raw 10 months ago? How did you even discover it? What happened?
Okay, so just a quick overview first is I've been sick since I was 8 years old. So I've had periods of time from months to years that I've been well, but essentially sick from when I was 8. I've been through, I've had over 60 operations now. I've lost organs. So I've really been through a lot. And I've been on massive doses of medication, surgeons, professors, doctors. I stopped breathing on the operating table. So I've been through like what I can say is everything, I feel like. And then I got to a point where I was still living at home. I was still sick, still in and out of hospital. And by this stage, I'd actually become an alcoholic for about 4 months. And then my liver started failing.
Wow.
So I was like, I just couldn't cope with like everything that had happened. But I got to this point where mum and dad said, you have to move out. Basically, you have to do this by yourself now. And I moved out, and I had been vegan for about 3 years with no huge change. I think it's transitional, but no huge change. And I started making my own foods. And because I had nothing around me at the time, just kind of me, my own space, I noticed still when I was having basic foods that were cooked, so maybe some steamed pumpkin or dry roasted pumpkin and just some dry roasted tomatoes, I would then get chronic fatigue back. I would have to go to sleep for the rest of the day. And I started thinking, when I have just salad and fruits, because my diet was very basic by this stage, I didn't get this reaction. And I thought, Skye, what are you willing to do for your health? And I thought, anything. So I just started having the fruits and salads. Now, what I'd been through, I'd actually had shingles, and then I couldn't walk, talk, and I was in a neurological hospital. So I was recovering from that, and I couldn't really read or write at this time either. So I didn't know what a raw vegan was. So I was just following my intuition, but I started to get on Instagram. I just felt like that's something with pictures. I could do that. And I started to notice these big, beautiful salads and raw vegan. So I said, well, I'm a raw vegan. So I started to generally, I couldn't read deeply into things, but just generally follow some people and some guidelines. And it was basically eat raw foods. And as I did it, it was like, I can't explain, a miracle. Like, it was like I got well within a few weeks. I think my 40th birthday was a month after I'd started. So I juiced and had a salad that day. And I spent the day with my nieces, my family. I was still growing, but it was like marvelous.
This is so magical. This is just so
It
incredible
is.
to me. So then when you transitioned raw, when you went raw, sort of just like everything healed. It's literally just like night and day from before. Like you've never experienced health like this before.
Never. And when I'm like thinking back now, I do put into that I was already vegan, eating a lot of whole foods. But once I committed to it, the difference in my life is I like nobody around me can believe it. Everyone still messaged me and says it's like a different person. like someone who is constantly sick. I must be the healthiest person I actually know now. And it's marvelous. It's amazing.
And I
And it's
feel like
only a month.
it's so nice connecting with you. We've connected through Instagram. And it's just so
Yeah.
nice connecting with you. And you're just so positive and happy and so high vibe. So before you took on this lifestyle, this raw vegan lifestyle or diet, whatever you want to call it, which I do as well, and I absolutely love. But before you took this on, were you this happy and bubbly and like enthusiastic? Were you always this way, or did this diet bring this out of you?
I have to say I was,
Yeah.
but what the diet has brought out of me and the contrast from being that sick to knowing that life is this beautiful is just, I inspire me every day. Like I'm my inspiration every day. And I just want people to know you can be your own inspiration every day. And so it's definitely, and you probably know this too, it changes your soul, your mind, your body, your outlook, everything. But I feel like definitely the positivity came almost immediately too. But I was always, I think to get through what I got through, I was very positive. But once you shift out of a sick person's mindset into a healthy person's mindset, I'm like, wow, this is living.
Wow, I'm so excited. I love this interview. You're so awesome. Well, I'm just wondering this. I love that too about how you're your own inspiration. That's just like, like an aha, wow. Like that just like struck a chord with me. That's so beautiful. And I'm just wondering, so aside from healing all the ailments you had and everything, what would you say have been all of the benefits you have experienced from changing the way you've eaten like this?
Oh my gosh. In a general sense, my hair, my skin, my nails, my mental health, my goodness. Oh, the way I look at nature, the way I did this, and as you know, I was quite ill when I did this. I didn't do it for the animals, but the way I see life all now, it's so connected. I actually can't see any negatives being raw vegan. I mean, when I was doing, I still see obstacles that I think of how other people would do it because I have a big push into it, right? I mean, I was that sick, but I do see that there's, the world kind of tells you, to go and go to these restaurants and have all these rich foods and stuff. But I just, then I turn around and kind of look at the universe and I'm like, but I get this. So I do see it. This has brought it all out of me, really. Like it just, yeah, it's a whole package.
Yeah. And for anyone watching who might not know, which I mean, I don't think I have to clarify, but you never know. So the raw vegan diet or the raw vegan lifestyle is one where you do not cook your food, in case anyone is wondering. So I'm wondering, like, when you transitioned, did you have any cravings and do you have any advice? Because you're new to this too. It's 10 months in, so it's all fresh for you. Do you have any advice for someone out there who might want to try this? Like, how do they get started? What do they do? Like, what were you eating to cause all this healing and happiness to take place?
Okay, well, I've actually created a website. It's
Oh,
coming out this week. It's coming out actually. So it will be out. And it is in regards to all this. So I've only just stopped cravings now. So they're a huge thing. And I found it's when the cravings come, then the flavors of all I was eating would come and I created things to stop those cravings. So I don't eat nuts or mushrooms either. So I'm quite strict. I don't eat anything from a packet, but I may go back to it. I just want to really settle my body. So I've created over 400 recipes doing this.
wow.
Yeah, and I've saved them all and share them when people want them. But I've created this website.
You're so amazing. I've been doing this 6 years and I have 20 recipes.
I'll send you some.
As you know, I'm off social media right now for 30 days.
Yeah.
This video will be posted when I'm back, but I'm working on a new website and courses,
Oh,
coaching,
wow.
a community, and an ebook. So I'm going to do a free ebook with recipes, and I only have 20. So look at you 10 months in with all these recipes. I have good feelings about you. You are going places. You are just like this big, vibrant ball of energy. I'm loving it. So congratulations. That is awesome.
Yeah, so what I've worked out during all this is that even if I handed somebody my 400 recipes, it's not going to work for them because each day I've never eaten the same thing. That's what's happened. That's why I've written down and I feel like it's for my body and for where you live too. So even when I went to Cairns recently, which is northern Queensland, so it's a lot hotter and humid. As soon as I got there, I wasn't craving my big salads. I was craving fruit, like more hydration instantly. So it wasn't going to work. So the way I set up my website is it's kind of like a general overview, but people really need to see that you need to create your own lifestyle. Does that make sense? So
It
when
does.
these cravings come, you need to kind of be have that space to go, right, well, I crave noodles a lot, sweet chili noodles I crave a lot. So I make a lot of noodles, chili, then I'll put the avocado, lime, create the sauce. And I'm so into the flavors because, as you know, they're quite strong once your body's very kind of alkaline and neutral. And so I've created all these things. So that's kind of how I've got through cravings, is when they come, it excites me to create something to replace what I'm craving.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Amazing.
yeah.
Incredible. So it's exciting for you, right? This lifestyle. Or
Yes.
like, I think some people think the raw vegan, I mean, I've done interviews on TV shows here in Toronto. I did one, and he was like,
Sure.
he was so awesome, but he was like, I can't imagine just eating salad all day long, right? Like, I think a lot of people think it's just like, oh my gosh, I'd be so bored eating a salad and an apple all day long. And those things are great. I love my apples and salads, but like, it's
Yes.
not boring, right? Do you feel deprived, or do you feel like I'm more and more in love with this lifestyle every day?
I never feel deprived. I actually feel just overwhelmed that I get to eat all this amazing food. But one thing I don't have much of, would you believe, is lettuce. And that is
Wow.
because I think I've been brought up that when you get the side salad at a restaurant, it's kind of a few lettuce leaves and pieces of tomato. And it's a lot to do with your mind, right? So when I think of, when you say, oh, people go, I couldn't eat a salad. It's like, it's not a few pieces of tomato, lettuce, and onion. I go like all in. I mean, I've got flavors coming left, right, and center in a huge bowl. And then I make a huge dressing like to pour all over it. I love it. So it's about changing that mindset, is how I see it.
Yeah, absolutely. Good point. And do you feel like there's any foods that have had negative effects on you? I know that there's certain foods that do with me, but I still consume them, like onions and garlic. They do bring out a bit more anger in me. And cacao, I just cannot, like, raw
Yeah.
cacao is too much of a stimulant. So have you noticed anything? But other people say they're fine with some of those foods. Like, how has it been with you? Is there anything that you've noticed in this 10 months that maybe your body wants to stay away from?
Plenty. I noticed I was using a lot of salt at the start, and then all of a sudden my body just obviously rejected it. I got very like violently ill, and then never ate it again. And I kind of shrunk again. Like, I wasn't realizing I was tiny, but you can still retain
Wow.
fluid. So I've had a process of, I'll just go back a bit, of process of going into this, getting rid of things like cacao. And that was huge. It really is a stimulant for me too. I cannot have that. Nuts I got rid of. I'm not saying I'm not going back, but for now, I noticed just my digestion sped up a lot. But salt was a big one.
Wow.
For me, I also got rid of, I was using paprika and turmeric. I didn't have anything dried. I'm trying to have as much fresh as I can. I got rid of those. And recently I had paprika again, and I got a nerve headache that came back.
Wow.
So I think my body is so reactive that it's best for me right now to stay just fruit veg, like very raw fruit and veg if I can. Is there anything? I hadn't had a lot of avocado in the last couple of weeks, and I noticed my stress levels increased. So anxiety started to creep back. My hair started to break. Skin got dry and a bit rashy.
So sorry, when did you notice that? When you had more avocados?
No, less avocado. So when I
Oh,
was having lots of oil, that's the only fat and coconut that I have. And I usually was having like 3 to 4 avocados a day, so quite a lot. So I was underweight when this started, and maybe they were helping me. And I got to a stage where I was like, I just don't want as much. I noticed immediately it was like kind of falling apart. So I've included it more the last few days, and immediately my skin is glowing again. My hair isn't as dry. Yeah. So but
wow.
that's me. That's what works for me. And as you said, everyone's different.
Yeah. And I feel like it's really working for you too, because in my opinion, you're really doing it right. I think because you're eating so fresh and clean and natural. I think a lot of times it doesn't work when people get carried away with like the stimulants like cacao or the dried fruit, like it's like eating a lot
Yeah.
of dates, or the dehydrated foods like the crackers or the breads or like the pizzas. Like, it's so, and don't get me wrong, if that's people's way to transition or that's what they want to do, That's
Yeah.
great. But if they're doing that and then wondering why they don't feel good, like you are clearly doing it right, in my opinion, like 100%. And it's,
Oh, thank you.
do you feel like that? Do you feel, and it's just like
Yeah.
you seem to have so much awareness too as to how these things affect you. And that's just incredible.
Yeah. And I think you get more awareness the more basic you get. But at the same time, I will touch on something here, and that is the juicing and fasting side of it. So I have juiced for only 5 days before. And I know it's like I read generally what's going on in the community. I try not to dive down someone else's path because I want to stick to my own. But obviously, it's in the back of my mind, do I want to go further into this? Now, I was very mindful doing this that I was underweight for 15 years of this. I'd eat as much as I want, but my body couldn't put on weight. So I did not want to re-trigger those trauma memories. You know, like there's a time and a place to deal with them. I didn't want them flooding back when I'm doing so well. So there's that. So that side of things, I think you have to be mindful of when you're doing a diet like this or going into something that is so changing. You do have to deal with it. You can be triggered. So in many ways, as you probably know.
Mm-hmm.
So there's things that I do in a slow transition. I think that's a key with what I've done is everything has been very, very slow. So onto the juicing. So I found that I did it. I didn't feel good on it. And whether it works for some people and others is up to them. But for me, I'm not ready to go into hard, a juice cleanse for a long period due to it kind of triggering that trauma.
Mm-hmm.
So
Because it's so extreme. It's so extreme. So I see how for a lot of people it's not ideal. I know some people think like this is the only way, you got to do the juice fast. And I respect everyone's opinion. I love sharing everyone's story, but I do think you're right. And I think for some people, maybe it's not right. And a lot of people do say for the long term, people that do the juice fast, it's harder for them to like stay on track. So I think your approach has been very admirable and very manageable and very much more, maybe especially for you, more likely to like maintain this lifestyle. It's just much more, yeah.
And somebody asked me the other day, if you were to say to anybody sick out there something, what would you say? And I said, just start eating raw food. Don't overthink it. Just add some carrots in it. Eat, like if you're not eating raw food, it's better than having like 4 cooked bowls of food. Just have some carrots with whatever you start like that. You will notice, I believe you notice a difference with raw foods.
You do. And I feel like the simpler you eat, the better you feel. Like it's not, you don't have to complicate it at all. It's just don't cook your food. Get whatever you're the most attracted to at the supermarket, whatever is most fresh.
That's
and
what
don't
I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I think. I'm like, I'd walk into a fruit shop and go, you love all these flavors here. Grab them all and make something. It can be exciting.
Exactly. It's just, you can make it however you want this lifestyle. There's so many different ways to do it. And I feel like when I first transitioned, I didn't even use a Vitamix, a blender. Like I was just eating whole foods. Yeah. And I felt I would say probably even better then. Cause like the cleaner you eat, the better you feel.
True. That is really true. That's very true. And even when I look back on some of the salads I made at the start, so I just had the cutting board, the knife and a vegetable peeler. I look and I'm like, wow, that's really amazing.
Yeah.
It's quite exciting. What people don't realize is it's a whole new world. So you can actually eat as much as you want. You can create great flavors because most flavors are not created from animals or I think mostly created from the vegetables. So you can do all that. And I look back and you're right. Probably some of the best I've made and then felt,
Yeah.
Cool.
So I'm wondering, before all this started, before you experienced all this amazing transformation, did you ever in your life think or connect like how you eat to the things going on in your body and how you feel? And like maybe, the connection between how the impact food can have on our body and our energy and our health and our mind. And
truthfully, yes. So when I was 16, 17, I had been to naturopaths and one of them said to me, you can only eat fruit and vegetables cooked as well for 2 days. And then every second night you can eat whatever you want. Now I was in a lot of pain at this time and I started doing it and I noticed I felt amazing. But at 16, the pull to me, what I thought in my mind was healthy was going out with your friends to parties, going to the movies, having popcorn. I'm like, I think that sits there and says, well, okay, I started to feel better. But obviously it wasn't enough push back then. The other thing is I got in the mindset of, I am so sick, I need a doctor. Like, because I've been to so many doctors, I'm like, a naturopath is good enough for me. I need, like, I am that sick. You get, and then and then you see another doctor, and that kind of on the mind, and then you get, that's all you know. So that's kind of where that's come from. But I guess, no, I didn't even think whole foods could heal me. I thought I needed some cut up bit of, something extracted and concentrated to cure me. But no, bring vegetables.
Yeah. So, right. Where do you think you would be right now if you didn't discover this path 10 months ago?
Oh, Gillian, what I've been through. I can't believe I survived it physically and then emotionally. I just don't even want to think where I was. Oh, wow.
This is a new life for you. I feel like it's a new life.
Yeah, it is. And just even connecting with someone like you, it brings my vibe even higher. Like the vibe, you meet the most amazing people. Like, it's a different world. And one other thing I've noticed is no two raw vegans are the same. So that's why when I created this website, I don't want anyone to think you have to follow what I did. It's all about, this is a map. Just use it as a tool, because we're all so different.
Yeah, we are. And I'll link your website below.
Okay, thanks. And you probably notice that when you interview people, they're all different.
Very much so.
Yeah.
But the one thing that's similar today, I've done 3 interviews today. I don't usually do 3 in a day, but I've done 3 today. And every interview, it's so interesting. It's just stuck out to me. Every interview today has said how bad salt is and how they had such a bad reaction to salt. And right now, for the last probably maybe 6 months, even to a year, I've been consuming some sea salt. And you know what? I think I'm going to cut it again and see how I feel, because you guys are all just screaming out at me in these interviews today. It's a sign, So yeah.
Oh, good for you. And I also think that when you say you're cutting out salt, so you're just cutting out salt. I don't think that people should ever think, I've got to cut out everything at once, because I think it's more sustainable. You try and see how your body goes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm wondering, so I'm curious socially. So this is a new change for you, and most of the world does not eat this way, right? No. I know that, you know that. So how have you navigated things socially? And do you have any tips out there for somebody who really wants to stay on track with this lifestyle, or really give it a shot to see if it'll work for them, but they have a hard time because their family's not raw, their friends aren't raw, they're used to going to these social gatherings, having this wine?
Yes. Okay. So that is once again what my website is about, is that I first of all had to get well, and I hadn't been out in so many years, and even before, when I did go out, it was on a blue moon, is I call restaurants ahead and just let them know. I show them photos of what other restaurants have done. My family knows, and they're so supportive. I'm so blessed in that sense. I'm so happy about it. I think people actually want my food. When I'm out, my nieces actually have started taking little lunch boxes of raw food to school since being around me. So, because I'm so happy being out. So I went to Cairns recently. I went out to the Great Barrier Reef. I just made my salad the day before and bought fresh fruit with me. And I love to be in the sun and eat the fruit. If not, truthfully, if there's a restaurant on the island that I went to, you just tell them, and you just double check with them, and don't be embarrassed. It's your health. So just say, even if it comes down and they feel really overwhelmed, I end up just saying, lettuce, tomato, avocado in a bowl, thanks. And what I notice is I appreciate the moment so much more. It's not about, the steak and chips. It's actually about connection with family, being around this, there's the ambience of a restaurant, or around if you're outdoors, nature, you notice different things. So don't think you'll be the same person. Is I think what the key is. You're not going to be in that mindset of, I need food. Oh, I need a glass of wine. You'll actually be like, man, I'm sitting on the most beautiful beach, or I'm sitting in this beautifully designed restaurant. Your mind changes.
Absolutely. And I'm just curious, looking at you, you're so beautiful. Have you noticed any anti-aging happening? I know I noticed that when I went raw. And I mean, the whites of your eyes look so bright. So what would you say as far as physical features changing like that?
Completely different. So I have noticed my skin is plump. The lines in my face have pretty much completely gone. Unless when I stopped eating avocado, they kind of got dry and sunk again. My hair is thick. It's growing out of control. My nails are thick. It's like there's more elastic in your whole body. bring out of bed every morning massively. But I think what is key here, I'll tell you a funny story. So my nieces started telling everybody that I looked 16. And I was like, oh, I like this. You can come with me. And I was at a water park, and this guy started talking to me, and my little niece turned around and looked up and said, I know she looks 19, but she's actually 41. And I was like, oh, I'm actually 40, but I'm like, oh my God, this is embarrassing. So I walked away and I walked up. And then when I went to go in the water, this other guy started talking to me, and she comes on, she goes, look, I know she looks 19, but she's actually 41. And I thought, maybe I'm not going to bring her in. So obviously, if they're noticing these massive changes, and to say it constantly, because they're quite young, they're little.
Yeah.
They're obviously noting I look different to other people.
And they speak the truth. Kids speak
That's what I mean. I think that's an example that you can take to the bank.
Yeah. So I'm wondering, in this 10 months, have you experienced any challenges with the raw vegan diet? Like, would you say there's been any difficulties? And if so, how have you overcome those?
That's a good question, actually. I think I find the restaurant, the social situations challenging at the start. So trying to convey, you think you're just going to tell somebody when you go to an event or a time out for someone's birthday, you just want a salad, no dressing, no nuts. And it'll come with dressing, or they'll add something to it, or they'll forget about you. But it's just built at the start. It really did upset or triggered me a lot. And I was very sensitive at the start, because this is a whole new world for me to be able to even go out. But I've built from that and learnt. And I'm not afraid now to, when a salad comes out, to actually say, kind of go through it and say, can you promise me there's nothing in it? Now, I'm not as reactive anymore as I was. So I got quite sensitive. If someone put oil on something, I would then have to have the rest of the afternoon at home, because I wouldn't be well. Yeah, so very sensitive. That's getting better. So
yeah, you know what? That'll change more and more in time as your gut microbiome changes and gets better and better.
Yeah.
It's like if I used to have gluten, I would be in bed throwing up. It would be coming out of both ends. Sorry for TMI, for like 5 days. And it was just the worst feeling ever. And it happened every time I consumed gluten. And then 2 years after being raw, I had it by accident, because I had a cheat day at a vegan cafe in Miami with one of my friends, and I had no reaction. And I was like, what's going on? And then I tested again, no reaction. So then I noticed, like, I really think a lot of it, maybe not for every case, I know it's genetics too, but a lot of the time, like, things really have to do with our gut. So I bet you in time, like, maybe your reactions will lessen, like you were saying.
Yeah. And it's interesting, isn't it? Because I don't really have a gut, because I had my stomach, most of it removed, my duodenum and my intestines. And of course the biome could still form, but it's quite interesting as to when it probably stripped back and was rebuilding. That's why I would be highly sensitive to everything going on. But yeah, I'm not as reactive now, and I'm more confident. So it all builds, it's all an experience. And I just kind of see that when I put on my website is, I feel like I've done the groundwork. So if someone is starting this diet, they can take that to a restaurant and say, look at all these restaurants that make these salads. Just make a simple salad if they feel overwhelmed. Do you know what I mean? Or something like that. But in actual fact, I've had a fairly good experience. I find going to fancier restaurants, they will more likely want to fancy something up probably by accident. But besides that, I've loved it. I found I could you're very raw. Being raw is emotionally, I've loved it, but I can get triggered. But even my emotional responses now are very subdued. I'm not so chaotic. There's no chaos in my life. So that's great.
Amazing. And do you feel like, I know you had a lot of bad things happen, like leading up to this, right? With all the health problems and stuff. And I know now you're just at this opposite end, like a total polarity, really, right? Which is quite amazing, which is one thing I love about life when it goes to the good polarity like that.
It is a
good feeling. It can be really hard being at the other side with like life or health, bad health, or like things like that. So now that it's so good, do you have an appreciation for all the bad? And do you feel like it was meant to be? And maybe somebody out there who's having health problems, like, do you think maybe there's a light for them at the end of the tunnel, and maybe this was a blessing that it all happened? I know maybe obviously it's not fun having your organs out, and I'm sure you wish you could have those back maybe, but in some other ways, are you kind of like, do you see everything as meant to be, all the health problems, and now maybe this all happened for a reason? And
I probably couldn't do what I want to do now with, I couldn't speak so highly of it if I hadn't been through what I'd been through, if that makes sense. Like, so, like I kind of see it is huge what I've been through. And then for fresh vegetables to fix me, like I kind of feel it had to be that huge to feel so inspired by what I've done, really. If I also think I don't want to say just if it was any isolated health problem, say like eczema or depression, so just one thing, I think I may have the mindset to go, oh, I've healed it. Should I go back? Kind of thing. What I have been through, there's no going back. This is life. And that doesn't even come into my mindset. So I know from what I've been through before, if you do something, you feel healed and you can go, and that life is what everyone else is doing, where I'm like, no, life is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And
no,
I wish everyone could know how good it feels to feel this way, right?
There's something very special about being raw, and you can't describe it. It's like nothing else until you're there, and it overrides like any other like quick buzz from sugar or from anything like that. It's amazing. It's constant.
Or even alcohol or anything. I remember when I was going through my divorce a few years ago, like 2 or 3 years ago, I had some wine. And I used to just love it in the past. I drank a bottle of wine a day for like 10 years. But then when I had wine a few years ago, I had like my first sip or first half a glass. And I was like, why did I even drink this? I feel so much worse. Like you get just this natural high on the raw foods that can't be explained unless you do it, unless you try it properly.
That's right. And your mind changes. So it's also, when you talk about wine, you probably felt so good in the past because when you're almost trying to balance an instability all the time. So when you like salt and sugar and fats, these are all the different highs, and then you're coming down, and then you have the alcohol, it lifts you up, and your mind thinks the alcohol's good, but it's good in a body of chaos maybe. And then once you're naturally high, it just, anything too strong just brings you down.
Yeah, absolutely. So true. And I'm wondering with your weight, so how has your weight been now compared to before? And I know some people struggle with holding weight on the raw vegan diet. So has that been an issue for you, or do you have some tips or anything that's worked for you to like maintain a nice weight? Because you look like really healthy.
Thank you. I actually was underweight. When I started, I don't know my exact weight, but I was definitely, my clothes were falling off me. I put on 2 dress sizes. I crave and eat from the start a lot of avocado and dates. Now that has changed now that I feel like these 10 months were, getting into it. So you still got the cravings, you're really learning things. Your body hasn't realized it's only having fruit and vegetables because you're thinking of other things often too. But I have to say that I feel, and I think I've read a little bit, that avocado and not so much the nuts. I had nuts at the start. I still wasn't. It was avocado, and I had a lot of dates. But if anything, I'd say avocado.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Hungry, eat. Like it's so good. You're giving your body that workout too. So I, at the start, never wanted to really blend or juice either because I wanted my body. It felt like it hadn't worked. Like my had not really. Like outside, you can do sit-ups, you can run, but you need inside to do the workout too. And I feel like just filling with lots and lots is really 2 dress sizes. So
wow.
Yeah.
And have you been working out too? Do you exercise or no?
Yes, I exercise sometimes 3 times a day. So I'm actually, I dance now. I do some HIIT, so some high intensity walks, swimming, anything my nieces want me to do, which is fun, like go to fun parks. And these are things I never dreamed I could do.
This is so amazing. And I was going to ask you about your energy, but if you're doing that, are you clearly, so how do you feel like that is the main reason I eat this way, because it gives me more energy than anything else on this planet. Like by far it's just crazy. So how do you feel like your energy compares from before?
Oh, you can't even compare. I don't even think as a child I was like this. I even remember as a child, you do something, but you burn out. Even, you sprint, bursts of energy. This, you just constantly, and you're very stable in everything you do. Your mindset, there's nothing you can't take on. Like it's the way you process things changes. It's I want to say a miracle, but I just want people to know that you can do it. Like
Yeah,
It's worth
absolutely.
it. Like, even if you don't have a health problem, because I was talking to someone who said who transitions people and all of them have health ailments. Not many people, she's never met someone who's come to her healthy and has said, but there's so much out there. The way the sky looks to me, the way the water, your eyes are so clear. And yeah.
And I'm wondering, do you feel more connected to God and like, do you feel more spiritual? Because that's a big thing that I've encountered.
I do, but it's almost like I miss this connection my whole life of being connected to the universe. I won't say God per se, as in like I feel like it's like nature. How
Mhm.
did I miss you? I said to somebody, I said, I remember as a child, even when I go to restaurants, I'd be excited to have the ice cream with the bright flavors and sprinkles. Like that was exciting. I said, what I get excited about now is walking down the street and I see a tree in the islands, that divide roads. I'll be like, oh, look at the tree, or a tree will be planted on the floor. I'm like, oh, the tree, like your whole mind. And I've never been like that, and now I'm so like, oh. So I
Absolutely.
find that spiritually connected to everything now, like nature connected.
And
That's
is your
yeah.
sleep better, or do you notice any like more vivid dreams or anything like that?
No, and I could not sleep. I mean, not at all. I would go months without sleep, actually. And it changed immediately. So your whole routine changes. The way even I know, even getting in a shower and feeling the water on my skin, it was like I felt like I'd never felt things before.
Hmm.
So it was sleep. I get into my bed, I'll be like, I'm so comfortable, beautiful sleeps. And yeah, everything changes.
It truly does. Yeah. And you
It
just get it such a
does.
deeper awareness of everything, of
Yes.
yourself and of other things. I just love how this is so fresh for you. And I'm just wondering, like, did you have to give up any bad habits? Like, did you used to smoke, drink, or do drugs, or like have
Yeah.
addictions? And what would you say to somebody out there who, because I get it, you can think like, oh, my life would suck without these things. I can't give up these things, but I know I want to. Like, what would you say to somebody who struggles with giving those things up? Do you have any advice or tips?
Okay, so you have to know that when I was in chronic pain, I was prescribed OxyContin, endone, morphine, pethidine when I was in hospital. Fentanyl was on me, Valium, stimulants, antidepressants.
Wow.
Took me 5 years to come off all of that. I never went back to that. But when my memories started to come back, as in I got well for a year, but I didn't really have any memory or connection to the memory. So I knew that things had happened, but there was no emotion. I functioned quite well. Then I got the shingles and I got sick again. Once I had to come out of, like, I had to be able to walk and get out of bed, and I couldn't talk some days, relearning all this. All of a sudden, my memories of all the trauma came back. And that's when I started drinking. So this time last year, I was an alcoholic, homeless. Like, I mean, I was
Wow.
living in a hotel. Yeah, I was living in a hotel, smoked, drunk coffee, but I was vegan and I would eat whole foods, but I'd go back to these things. Sounds like it doesn't work. Trust me, it doesn't work, but you're still getting there, if that makes sense. I was still getting there. I knew that this good stuff was better than the other stuff, but so you can do it, but do it one thing at a time. So I think I stopped alcohol and cigarettes simultaneously, but they were not together type thing. So the alcohol first, then the cigarette I would go back to now and again, but I just felt like crap because you're eating such cleansed food. When you eat this food, you really can't do these things because they make you feel so
Yeah.
ill.
You stop
So
wanting them. That's what happened to me with
yeah,
drinking. I just stopped wanting the alcohol or like wanting the chips and
yeah,
stuff. Yeah. So
yeah.
this
So
was only 1 year ago. You were living
yeah,
that way. Unbelievable.
yeah,
I just love these stories where you see people and they're like, look, this was 1 year ago. Look how much things have
yeah.
changed, right? It's so incredible. 12 months, like your life can just turn around.
That's right. So, and I think what I love about it is I did it, and this is a journey you take on yourself. So no one can make you go raw. I can't turn you raw. Only you can turn you raw, if that makes sense. So it's a very personal journey. And so you can get through all these things. And that's why I say to people, I think the key is just incorporate raw food. Just make the raw food a habit. And eventually it will, oh, I do believe it can override if you keep at it. Like if you believe in it and believe in you enough. So I've
Absolutely.
overcome addictions, health problems, mental health issues, everything. You can do it.
Incredible. And
Yeah.
who would you say you've had some mentors or great inspirations along the way that have helped keep you on track, or like any books or like anything that's really influenced you and helped you a lot on this journey?
Can I say at the end of the day, it's me? I have to say just me. And I want to stick with that. And I want people to believe that you can get up and you will be who changes you.
Mm-hmm.
No one else will. You can read every book. You can have a brain that retains every book. That actually may be detrimental once you let that go and go, hey, it's me. Look what I've done. And if you talk to anyone, you actually find they have been through a lot. Like if
Mm-hmm.
I could interview
Mm-hmm.
you, I'm sure you've been through it, and I know you have a lot,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
That is enough inspiration to go, I've done this, but look what I mean, look what you're doing. You help
Mm-hmm.
people by sharing stories. It's quite
Mm-hmm.
incredible. We are our own inspiration, is what I believe.
So true. Amazing. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm also wondering, I know a lot of people say I can't be raw vegan, I'm just hungry all the time, or I tried it, I'm hungry all the time, or maybe they're just starting and they feel hungry all the time. Did you experience that at all? And how have you dealt with that?
100%. I'm not going to lie here. You will be hungry every second of the day. Eat. Even when it's like you're going to sleep and you're hungry, eat bananas. I read, I like just saw that someone kept bananas, saved them when they were only raw for a year, this person, but when they went into it, they said they almost had a nervous breakdown. They pretty much did. But bananas, they just ate. Like you will, once that full feeling comes in, the craving will kick. You can't,
Mm-hmm.
when you're feeling full, you cannot then be craving something else. The thoughts will pass. So eat, keep food with you, keep raw snacks with you, and just don't be embarrassed. Eat. It actually inspires other people. People start to think, oh, if this person can eat me fruit all day, maybe I should eat more fruit. So don't be afraid of it. Eat.
I feel like it does. It inspires people more than making them think, what
Ah,
the heck are you doing? Right. I feel like at the end of the day, especially when they see someone like you, they're like, what is she doing? Right. I want to eat. And they see your grocery cart, or they see you eating these things, and then they're more
yeah.
inspired to try more of those things.
But I also would come out. I remember walking out of Woolworths, there's a big shopping center we have, and I had all fruit and vegetables, and I'd quit smoking. I was eating celery. I was so proud of myself. It was one of those moments where I was like, look at me. I'm
Yeah.
wheeling out vegetables, eating celery. I'm that chick in the car park.
That's great. And I'm wondering, so what are you eating in a day right now? I don't think I asked you that already.
Oh, no. So at the moment, I'm eating a lot of papaya. So I actually did some mono meals to try. I was getting a lot of bloating, as you probably know. I won't lie. When you first go into this, you will bloat.
Mm-hmm.
But the health benefits are so great, the bloating didn't even really register until you kind of get in tune with your body. And so I will have nice creams with like raspberries, bananas. So first I will get up, do my exercise. Then I will have a juice, and then I might do some more swimming. Then I will have like a nice cream or some papaya and a lot of it. And then I will maybe snack on some more bananas, dates up until maybe 2. And then I'll usually have between 2 and 4 my big salad. Or
Yeah.
I'll have 2 salads. I might then snack again at night, which will be more savory once again. I'm more a savory,
Yeah.
but fruit is
Yeah.
just so good.
Yeah, absolutely. And what would you say is your favorite recipe right now?
Do you know? Oh, at the moment, I was talking about like sweet chili oodles. So zucchini oodles with like tomato, capsicum, like the blended sauce with tomato, capsicum, some galangal, a little bit of turmeric, lime or lemon, some mandarin at the moment I've been adding to it, blend it up, put it through it. And I'm like, and sometimes I dry my own tomatoes to add some depth to my sauce. And
Yeah.
that's so yum. But in actual fact, up until this week, I'd never made the same meal twice. I was
Wow.
so never like I've got like 400 recipes. Every time I
Wow.
write them all down, because I thought these are so good, Skye. What if you want to remember them? Like,
Yeah.
what if
Maybe you're
I
gonna have your own restaurant one day.
maybe that would be so amazing. I
Yeah.
really agree. Yeah.
And I just want to clarify too, because I feel like we did miss some things with your health problems or with maybe negative things you experienced before. So I would just love to say one more time, maybe like, oh, maybe like everything you kind of experienced as far as like negative symptoms or health problems, like everything that kind of or maybe not like that, but everything that you feel like was healed as a result of this, or everything that did change, like depression, sleep, skin, like just maybe a list of like, just maybe for some people to relate to.
Okay, so it was almost like, so I'll just, when I was 8, I got chicken pox. And from then on, I was basically in bed all the time and bits of my body would just fail. So then I would have to, my tonsils got eaten away, they'd be taken out. But before that, I was told I had chronic fatigue, glandular fever, glands are out here. That trend with extreme illness has followed my whole life. So I'll always be sick, but this chronic fatigue, which, and hormonal problems, which I had a hysterectomy, so I don't get those now, but I think there was still hormonal problems going on where I was. My mental health, I'd been in hospital for my mental health, I think 6 times. So
Wow.
this is all gone.
Wow, Skye.
I actually went back and visited a friend in the mental health hospital, and the doctors couldn't believe how well I was. So they said, it's so nice to have you here. Well, and I actually do support work for the disabled now. So I help people who are ill, which I love doing because I've been there, both sides. But as for me, this chronic, what had stayed with me was obviously I had post-traumatic stress. I was reliving that. My hair, I'd lost my hair. So I had this much hair left. It had all fallen out. I was underweight. I couldn't put on weight again. I was sleeping all the time. I actually some days still couldn't get up. I used to have to put music on and pretend to do like a routine to just get up and fold sheets. So I was in a place that was just, my body was spent, and I'd just been in hospital again too because I've been drinking. My liver, my body couldn't handle these kind of things I was doing to it. But that to me is like the crux of, you've been sick that long, you get these, you get the depression, you get the chronic fatigue, you will get other ailments, but you'll get this chronic illness. It's probably many people have it. That heals. So your skin, your nails, your bones, everything gets stronger. I mean, I was on Nexium, which is like it basically this is another story, this is, I think, really important. So because I don't have a stomach, I should be taking something to line what is there, because food is acidic, right? So I could go off and on that, but the thing which I find interesting is, since I had it removed, I was told I would always need iron infusions and B12 shots, because the duodenum is what absorbs that, and I don't have one. So I was told, and every 6 months I'd need that. Going raw, none. My blood work changed like that. When I was on vegan, my blood work had protein issues all the time. They'd never seen it before. My body was not making protein. There's always something wrong, not making proteins. But I was eating enough protein. I'd seen a nutritionist. I was eating quite well.
Mm-hmm.
But going raw changed everything. So these doctors have said to me, you don't have this organ, you can't, but I am. Everything's great.
Mm-hmm. I swear. It's like it's the beginning of a new life for you, Skye.
Yeah.
I'm happy for you.
Thank you. I really believe no matter what is wrong with somebody, it's you can lower that inflammation. To me, it's the inflammation that's in the body. It'll pop out any kind of way. You get an overheated car, you'll blow a tire, or the engine will blow, you're running like that. So if you're unwell, you really want to alkalize the body, and I can't say anything is better than raw foods.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. Well, this has been amazing. I feel like I could just talk to you for days and days. I love you, and I would love to have you on again at some point too. So if you guys, my subscribers, are interested in any topic for Skye, then please comment down below and I'll definitely invite her back on. But I would love to just say or ask you, like, do you have any advice or anything to end off, any wisdom or tips, anything you've learned out there to sort of inspire someone who might be in a hard place right now? Maybe they have some health problems. Maybe they have some drinking problems. Maybe they want to try this lifestyle, see if it works for them, but they don't know where to start.
Start with you, because as I said, just look at where to get into a situation where you are drinking. I promise you have been through a lot to do that. No person who hasn't just starts drinking. You're your own inspiration, and you deserve to have the best life ever. And just start, even if you go back to drinking and smoking, if you just incorporate raw foods where you can and see how you feel. Like, just start there, because I truly believe it's in everyone to be well.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I can say anything, it's I keep believing more and more in me. And then the more you do that, that's all you know. So believe in you.
Beautiful, Skye. Well, thank you so much for being on. I've absolutely loved talking to you. It's been one of my favorite interviews. You're just so,
Oh,
so incredible.
Oh, thank
And yeah, I'm gonna
you.
have a tough time naming this video, making the thumbnail, and giving it a title because there's just so many. You have such an amazing story, truly.
Oh, you're so sweet. You're lovely. You're gorgeous. I've loved it too. I love talking to you. Time's just flown.
Yeah, absolutely. I know you're amazing. So, yeah, this has just been truly incredible. So, I adore you. I love you. I will link your website below. I'll link anything you want to give me down below so everybody knows where to find you and connect with you because you're just
Sure,
so
of
high vibe,
course.
amazing. You're so inspiring. And you
Oh,
just such an inspiration to so many people, just give so many people hope. And it just shows people that you can go from one end of the polarity to the other end, to the good end,
yeah.
whether you're living in tough times, whether it be financially, emotionally, anything. You give
You
me
can do
tears
it.
coming. You're in the hospital six
Oh,
times. It's just amazing. I feel so right about this. I feel like you're on the right path. Someone who was in the hospital
oh,
six times
thank
for their
you.
mental health and then saying like it's
Yeah,
totally healed all of that. It's like, it's
yeah,
just magical, right? It's beautiful. And I'm so
yeah,
grateful that you found this path for yourself.
yeah. Me too. I've loved this. Now I'm gonna cry. Oh. Oh.
You're amazing. Okay,
Thank you.
thanks, Skye. And again, I'd definitely love to have you back in the future. And to my viewers, I hope you
Definitely.
guys enjoyed this. Make sure you give this video a big thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe if you don't already. I create great videos just like this one multiple times a week. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.